YouTube. It's Shows with a Story. We're gonna watch another Fat Files video. I'm super excited about it. Arizona tea. I will say, I've tried a few Arizona iced teas. I'm not the biggest fan of their taste, but I'm very particular with my tea. Not trying to give any shade. I know plenty of people like it, and I'm happy they exist. But let's learn about them. Grab your snackies, grab your bevies. Let me know what you're eating or drinking down below. Let's get to watching.
All right, this is easily the most requested business for me to look into.
That's because everybody likes the CEO. It's like the Arizona iced tea dude and the Costco dude. We love them.
Today we're talking about Arizona tea, and I think the reason so many people have requested this is fairly obvious. Clearly Arizona is up to something, selling these giant cans of tea for 99 cents, which right out of the gate feels weird, but then...
Well, they're successful. Anyway, so my thing, right, is I like Southern sweet iced tea. It's usually like a black tea. It's iced, and it's very sweet. I don't like how, and I do not like flavored teas. I'm not interested in like, this one's like watermelon or whatever. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in the mix of like you mix it tea and lemonade, that kind of stuff, or half and half or anything like that. I just want a sweet iced tea. That is all I want. That is all I'm interested in. And I just didn't really I don't really like the flavor of canned ones. I've had a few canned sweet teas. I think it's whatever's in the can. Like, you know, like the container will flavor the drink inside. That's why canned Cokes taste different than bottled Cokes, taste different than plastic bottled Cokes, taste different than, you know, whatever. I think it's like the aluminum cans or like whatever. It's like the can leaching flavor, if that makes sense. I'm not a fan of it. It just affects the taste of it, and I don't like it.
Something selling these giant...
I'm sorry. I like a cup of sugar, and then you take some tea in a spray bottle, and you just squirt it once.
cans of tea for 99 cents, which right out of the gate feels weird, but then it gets even weirder when you realize that they've been selling that same can of tea for the same exact price since 1992. Okay, inflation has gone up 124% since then, meaning that if they just wanted to maintain everything, that can of tea should cost at least $2.24. Okay, bear in mind, we live in a world where as of 2021, the Dollar Tree is now the $1.25 tree. Okay,
yeah.
The only other product that is sacred is the Costco $1.50 hot dog. And to make that even kind of feasible, Costco had to go out and buy 2 hot dog making factories, and they still lose money on it, okay? The only reason Costco's staying in business is because they make so much money on all the other things they sell, they can just afford to take a loss on the hot dog.
Also, fun fact, the reason, if you ever noticed, like, grocery stores also take a loss on stuff like rotisserie chickens, by the way. Like, if you ever go to a grocery store and they have fully cooked rotisserie chickens, and why do I freeze randomly now? And you're like, how is that? Like, how they do this? Loss leaders, yeah. So they want you to come into the store and buy other things, and the fact that you're buying other things, not just the rotisserie chicken, is how they get money. But they want you to come in the store, and that will convince you to come into the store. Kind of similar with a hot dog kind of thing. They did end up buying factories and like a whole bunch of stuff so that they end up saving more money, or like I should say losing less money. And that's how they kept the price down, which good for them. And also I wake up every day without a Costco, and I am upset about it every day.
Is because they make so much money on all the other things they sell, they can just afford to take a loss on the hot dog, which makes the Arizona tea can absolutely insane because it's the equivalent of Costco only selling hot dogs. They have to be losing money. It doesn't even seem feasible. They're clearly up to something, and we're going to get into it right after a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Rocket Money, your all-in-one finance app that's going to help you cancel subscriptions, lower your monthly bills, and overall manage your money better. Rocket Money covers pretty much everything. They will let you monitor your credit score. They help you manage your budget by letting you see all of your expenses in one easy location. And
there's like Costco everywhere. Yes, Alabama has multiple Costcos. I don't have one. but they do exist.
And if you want them to, they can actually go in and help negotiate a lower price on some of your bills, like your cell phone, for example. And they don't just save you money by negotiating down some of your bills, they also help you identify and cancel a bunch of subscriptions that you probably didn't even know that you had. And this is my favorite part because
you guys, like, I smell it's Costco's and Trader Joe's and like all this other stuff. And I'm like, you know what I got? Yeah, Sam's Club. I want a Costco. I was talking, like, when I worked at the pharmacy, I would talk with my boss and be like, listen, buddy, if a Costco ever opens up, we're both leaving this joint and we're both applying for Costco. If I'm having to deal with retail pharmacy bullshit, I want to get paid how much, like, Costco pays their people. Like, 100%. Like, we're jumping ship to Costco, and one never opened.
me and my wife, mostly my wife, has a horrible habit of signing up for free trials on apps and then forgetting to cancel them. But luckily, Rocket Money's here to let me know that I've been spending $7.99 a month every month for the past 3 years on some photo editing app that my wife used one time for an Instagram post. Yeah, babe, what's up?
How many guns did you buy this year?
No comment. Wait, what? How do you even know I'm talking about you right now?
Oh, hey. Okay, so the only tea you buy from gas station store is Milo Sweet Tea. Do you buy the red one or do you buy the purple one? Do you even have the purple one? Have you ever had the purple one? I love the purple one. The purple one is extra sweet. I'm a fan of the purple one.
Did you bug my office?
Hello, guns and knives.
Don't worry about it. B, keep my name out of your mouth.
All right. All right, I gotta finish the ad. I gotta go. Love you. That could have went better. Anyways, if you want to take control of your finances today, go check out Rocket Money. I will have a link in the description down below. Let's get back to the video. There's a baby monitor in my office. All right, our story begins with the owner of Arizona Tea.
She monitoring her baby. But not her, like, baby, but like her baby. That's you.
There's a baby monitor in my office. All right, our story begins with the owner of Arizona Tea, John Volagio. In the 1970s, he was a truck driver for an alcohol distribution service. Essentially, he was driving a truck around the city and he would deliver all the alcohol to convenience stores and gas stations, and he did that for years. After doing this for years, him and his coworker, John Farolito, decided they're going to start their own distribution service. However, as I'm sure you can imagine, that's a very tough business to get into, and initially the only clients that they could get were all the convenience stores and gas stations on the sketchy part of town that nobody else wanted to deliver to, but they did it anyways.
Listen, some of the sketchy gas stations have some of the best stuff. It's cheap, but it's tasty. Like, you know how, like, cheap stuff has a different flavor than, like, the nice expensive, like, food related? So, like, there's, like, cheap Chinese food and, like, nice and, like, expensive Chinese food, and, like, there's cheap fries, and then there's, like, the more expensive fries. Like, you know, there's cheap candy, and then there's the more expensive candy. You know what I'm talking about. It's a different flavor, and you crave it for different reasons.
And after they had a fairly successful distribution service, they figured, hey, we're already carrying all these different types of beverages to deliver them to all the convenience stores, and we have those relationships. What if we started our own brewery and started making our own alcoholic beverage, and then we could just have one more product to be able to offer all these clients? So they did, and that was fairly successful also. So now that they have their own alcohol, they have to figure out how to market it. And this is where John Volagio really figures out how to market a product, and he looks around at all the other successful products in the alcohol market in the 1980s. And let's just call a spade here. The 1980s is the pinnacle of the sleazy advertisement era, okay? I mean, we've got Camels trying to sell children-flavored cigarettes, and we've got every alcohol company on the planet desperately trying to convince you that if you drink fucking Bud Light or Coors Light or whatever, a supermodel is going to be attracted to you and your beer gut. So John Volagio, learning how to market a product,
Beer has a lot of calories. Alcohol has a lot of calories in general.
he's like, okay, step one, make it cool. Step two, have a supermodel with huge cans, promote it. Easy. They then proceed to name their beer Midnight Dragon, which is the coolest fucking name for a beer I've ever heard, and this is in 2024. If you adjust for inflation, it had to have been way cooler back in the 1980s. I mean, even today, that's a brilliant name. Imagine going over to your buddy's house, he opens up the fridge. Oh, what did you want to drink? We've got Miller Lite and Midnight Dragon. Dragon! I mean,
Midnight Dragon sounds like it's gonna... It sounds like it's gonna get you high. Like, It sounds like a completely different experience than let's sip a beer. Like, you know? You know what I'm saying?
At that point, you could literally be a Miller Lite guy and you're still gonna try at least one Midnight Dragon. You have to. So step one, make it cool. Check. Step two, make it sexy, right? Sex sells. I present to you their first ever advertisement, a beer poster of a model in red lingerie holding a 40 of Midnight Dragon with a straw with the caption, "I could suck on this all night." The fact that it's a 40 is just completely outrageous. Like, the notion that anyone in the history of mankind has ever been drinking a 40 while simultaneously also concerned about smearing their lipstick is just completely unhinged. Like, I need a part two of this beer advertisement. I know that straw doesn't reach the bottom of that 40. What happens when the straw doesn't reach anymore? Do you just throw it away and get it?
No, you tilt the bottle. You tilt the bottle. Listen. You tilt the bottle. I don't know how else to explain it. You tilt the bottle.
That straw doesn't reach the bottom of that 40. What happens when the straw doesn't reach anymore? Do you just throw it away and get another 40? Or are you going to be so drunk off the first 20 ounces you're not going to care about your lipstick anymore? I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Anyway, so this goes on until like 1990, and John Volagio, while he's delivering beer one day, there's another distributor there, and he's actually dropping off a bunch of Snapple. And John Volagio is just like captivated by it because it's the middle of winter. Why on earth would anybody be drinking iced tea in the middle of winter? It doesn't make any sense to him, but apparently a bunch of people enjoy it, so he's like, that's it. I'm going to start selling tea. So the first thing Dawn has to figure out is the proposition, right? Why would anybody...
How strong were drunk driving laws in the 80s? Now thinking about that. Like... Anyway, not everybody wants to be drinking beer. Like, and also, like, they driving. Like, they're trying to get to point A. It's a gas station. Like, it's a gas station. Nearly non-existent. Okay. But it's like a gas station. I don't know, man. When I go on, listen, I have to drive a lot, right? And, like, yes, there are, like, you know, stronger... You can't have open containers in the car laws, that kind of stuff now. But like in the 80s, very, in the 70s, not very. Okay. So like, yeah, it's a gas station. You stop by, you get like non-alcoholic drinks because you are driving somewhere, right? That makes sense. Have I ever been to a Milo's? Yeah. I have. Their fries are okay. Their burgers are like rubber to me. I don't know. They're not the tastiest.
I'm gonna start selling tea.
Good tea though. At least for me, I like their tea. Their tea is like low effort for me. Like I don't have to brew anything. I will say their tea does taste a little weak, but it's okay.
Tea. So the first thing Dawn has to figure out is the proposition, right? Why would anybody drink his tea over Snapple? Snapple's already an established brand. So he starts to thinking on how he's going to set himself different, how he's going to set himself apart, how he's going to be better. Now, I'm just guessing, but I'm assuming at this point he refers back to all of his experience, all of his knowledge, all of the lessons that he's learned from marketing and distributing beer over the past decade. And when you distill all that knowledge down, he knows that you have to make it cool and you have to make it sexy, right? Because sex sells. The problem is iced tea isn't exactly an adult beverage. There might be a lot of kids drinking this beverage too, and having some model with huge cans marketing it might be a little aggressive for something that children might be drinking, and then it hits him. Huge cans. We'll get rid of the model and just keep the giant cans. Okay, now like the textbook business term for this strategy is called a value proposition. Basically, he's decided that Snapple is 16.
Wait.
This term for this strategy is called a value.
In marketing, an innovation, service, or feature intended to make a company or product attractive to customers.
Proposition. Basically, he's decided that Snapple is 16 ounces and it costs like, I don't know, $1.29, whatever it costs. He's coming in and he's like, cool, I'm going to sell more. I'm going to sell 23 ounce cans and I'm going to sell it for less. I'm going to sell it for 99 cents. That's the value proposition. You're going to get more for less. Okay, that's what a textbook's going to tell you, but I'm dubbing this the big can strategy, right? Because we've seen this time and time again, okay? Think about Monster Energy. Monster Energy was not the first energy drink to ever hit the market. That was Red Bull. Monster Energy just came along and was like, oh, hey, Red Bull's only selling these little 8-ounce cans of energy drinks. What if I doubled the size and sold 16-ounce cans and gave it an even cooler logo? Boom, multi-billion-dollar business right out of the gate. And you know the kicker with that, one of the top executives that helped initially launch Monster and market it it was a top-level executive at Arizona previously, so he knew exactly what he was doing with the big can strategy. In Don Voltagio's own words, his marketing strategy is, and I quote, "Put tea in a big can and paint it pretty." Okay.
The cans are pretty. They're a pretty color. They have pretty art on them. Like, that's fair. Like Liquid Death. I mean, the only time I've ever really had a Liquid Death was at concerts, because now they sell them at concert venues. That is the water you get at a concert venue now, is a Liquid Death for whatever reason. Whatever, I guess. Like the non-carbonated ones. And it's fine. It's fine. It's water in a can.
If you learn nothing else from this video, just remember, people like big cans.
Did you say my name?
No, why?
You said big cans.
Yeah?
Well, that was my nickname in high school.
What?
Yeah, I didn't tell you that story?
No.
Yeah, so it all happened back in 2009. I was a freshman, and so...
He looking at your big cans.
Like, all up in my face.
Sorry, what?
Are you paying attention?
Yeah. No, I heard all of it.
Okay.
Sorry, anyways, we've got the business model. Classic value proposition, give
Hold on. I don't know what you're talking about.
more for less. Super simple, easy to market, great tried and true business strategy. Next thing, what are we gonna name the company? So Don's thinking on it. He goes back home to his wife and he's looking at his house, and he lives in this like Spanish colonial, or sometimes referred to as Santa Fe style home. And he's like, cool, I'm just gonna call it Santa Fe Tea. When you think of tea, you think of hot, the desert. Santa Fe is perfect. We're gonna slap Santa Fe on the can. He does a couple of designs. The word
That's not what I think of when I think of tea. I think of tea in a tall, sweating glass with ice and a straw in it. That's what I think of when I think of tea. But, you know, I live in Alabama, so.
Santa Fe just, it doesn't look right. It doesn't fit. So he's like, fuck it. I'm just going to say Arizona Tea. Don's never even set foot in Arizona, but he's like, it's fine. We're just going to call it Arizona Tea. It'll be good.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, next thing, gotta make the cans cool. Don's wife volunteers. She's gonna design all the cans. Perfect. We got everything we need. So now Don and John Farolito are gonna go to the bank, get a loan, and start their tea company. The bank hates it. They think it's a horrible, stupid idea, but they reluctantly end up giving the loan anyways for a couple of reasons. One, they're already successful businessmen. They already have a ton of money in collateral. And B, sometimes you just gotta bet on the player and not the game. So
I really think it's more like the collateral that they have that they can put up. That's what banks tend to care about, is the collateral. I'm gonna be honest.
they already have a ton of money in collateral. And B, sometimes you just got to bet on the player and not the game. So the bank, while they were wrong, they ended up making the right decision and loaned them the money to get started. So 1992, Arizona Tea hits the shelves for the first time and pretty much is immediately outrageously successful. And from here, it's pretty much 3 decades of Don Voltaggio being a fucking gangster about absolutely everything. Don wakes up one morning, decides he wants to start selling giant 1-gallon jugs of tea. He starts making the tea, takes it to the distributor. The distributor's like, hey, this is never gonna sell. At which point Don is like, cool, you're never right about anything. Go ahead and put it on the shelf anyways. We'll see what happens. Now,
I love it. Cool, you're wrong. You've been wrong about everything your entire life. Sell it anyway, bitch. You can't tell me what to do. Sell my gallon tea. With lemon flavor. I think that's honestly the issue I have with it is I don't like tea with lemon. And a lot of the teas that you get, like the sweet teas that are like canned or pre-made or whatever, they have like a lemon flavor to them. I don't know if it's like a preservative that they have that just tastes like lemon, or if it's just like most people like a little bit of lemon in their tea. I have no idea what it is. I don't like it. It immediately, I'm like, no, thank you. Every time I keep trying different canned and bottled pre-made teas. Every single time I have one, almost always actually, because Milo's doesn't have it. But like, and I don't think Red Diamond does either, but Red Diamond doesn't make the small ones. They have like lemon in there or lemon flavor in there. And I don't like the lemon flavor. That's my issue.
Now it's in like every grocery store in America. He decides he wants to come out with a new flavor of tea, honey and ginseng green tea, and then he has his wife design this beautiful can, at which point he takes a bunch of criticism like, hey, men are never gonna drink that tea because it's a girly colored can, at which point he's like, fine, I'll just sell it to women then. Fast forward a decade later, it's their best
All right. Well, the boys don't gotta drink it then, do they?
can, at which point he's like, fine, I'll just sell it to women then. Fast forward a decade later, it's their best-selling flavor and probably one of the most iconic product designs of all time, and it's all because he had his wife's back like a complete badass.
Hell yeah. Also, it is like the one that you see. When I think of Arizona iced tea, I think of specifically the green tea one. Like that can is what I think of. That is what you see the most. Sorry, that's the one that you see all the time. I see that more than I see just regular sweet tea from them or regular tea from them. That is the one that you see. A store or a grocery could have, or a, I don't know, gas station could have one item of Arizona tea, and it is this one, like 100%. So, just saying.
Iconic product designs of all time, and it's all because he had his wife's back like a complete badass. He would also get a bunch of shit because he wasn't doing any marketing. Like he had no marketing department whatsoever, to the point that whenever companies or interviewers or news sources would ask, you know, hey, how big is your marketing department? He would reply, pretty big. About 6'8", in fact, referring to himself because he was the only guy that did any marketing, which honestly wasn't much. They weren't worried about product placements and being a Super Bowl commercial and all this other dumb shit that all the other brands do, because Don knew that he had the value proposition on his side. He knew that he was selling more tea for less, and he was putting it inside of a cool can, and the product would sell itself, and he was absolutely right. Okay, fast forward to 2008, Arizona Tea is huge. They have their own factory, everything's paid off, they're making a ton of money, they're the #1 ready-to-drink tea brand in the country. At this point, the company is worth over $1 billion, and John Farolito, who over the past decade has become more and more of a quiet partner as Don just kind of took everything over and John just got to, you know, reap the rewards, he comes out and he's like, hey, we could literally sell this company and make billions of dollars and just be retired billionaires that wake up and do whatever the fuck we want all day, every day. We should sell the company. To which Don was like, no, absolutely not. I'm not selling this company because if I sell this company, what are my sons gonna do? Both his sons were his top level executives with him, literally his right and left hand man. And
what is this picture? Like, if they were in debt, like I know they're wearing Arizona Tea shirts. If they were in like suits, I would be like, this is like a fucking mob family. Like, look at how they're posed. The one dude just like only one of them is like smiling, like Ari and Zona, the tea family, the Arizona mafia, the tea mafia. Or a boost? Thank you for the subscription. Appreciate you. Like, that's so funny. Sorry. Like, oh my God. Like, even how the dad is sitting and his facial expression, like. Anyway, like, no, I don't want to retire. I want to leave this to my kids. What the fuck are you talking about? We're doing so well.
he knew that if he sold out, he wasn't going to get to hang out with his sons because every single day, Don Volagio has a 2-hour family-style lunch with both of his sons and his wife inside of his big-ass office in his factory. Okay, just so we're all on the same page, Don Volagio...
That's so nice! We have family lunch together because we all work together. That's so nice, actually.
inside of his big ass office in his factory. Okay, just so we're all on the same page, Don Volagio could have cashed out and been a billionaire with a fucking B and said, nah, I'd rather hang out with my kids. Go fuck yourself. That is the most gangster thing I think I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, imagine how his sons feel about him after that. You know what I mean? Like, imagine going to work with your brother and your dad all day, every day, knowing that the only reason that you're there right now was because your dad got offered to be a billionaire. Like, basically a king or an emperor of capitalism in America, essentially. Like, your dad could have just been like the guy doing whatever he wanted for the rest of his life. But no, he decided he was going to have your back instead, and now you get this awesome job with your family. Like, it's dad goals to a degree that I didn't even know existed. So this obviously leads to a little bit of a falling out between Don and John. John obviously wants to sell. He wants to take his money and run, which kind of understandable. So he's like, you know what? Fine. Don, you keep your half of the company. I'm going to take my half and I'm going to go sell it to some investment firm or something, and I'm going to get my money and I'm going to retire. To which John Volagio is like, no, you're not. Absolutely not. You are not about to sell half of my company to some investment firm that's going to want to take it public, and then an army of MBAs is going to march in here and try to tell me how to run my business that I built from the ground up when none of them have accomplished anything at all. Okay?
And they're gonna ruin the vibe and ruin my product. Like 100%, the company is gonna go downhill the second that you sell it. Like, that happens often. I mean, it doesn't always happen, but it does happen often. So it's just like they're gonna fuck it up. You're not gonna do that.
Run my business that I built from the ground up when none of them have accomplished anything at all. Okay, I'm worried about taking care of my employees and my family and putting a lot of tea in pretty cans, and these MBAs are going to march in here and they're going to be worried about one thing, and that's getting a return on their investment, which is a fancy way of saying they're trying to make money for doing fucking nothing. So Don and John go to court and battle it out for the next 8 years. They reach a confidential agreement outside of court. Nobody knows what it was. Nobody knows the terms. Nobody really knows what happened. All we know is that John got paid out $1 billion, and now Don Volagio owns 100% of Arizona Tea as of 2015. So clearly, they just paid out
I'm gonna assume that he just got bought out. And maybe he didn't get bought out in a lump sum, but he got bought out.
$1 billion. It's been 23 years. They have to raise the price of the tea, right? Absolutely not. Don is 100% against it, and he's going to do anything and everything he can to not raise the price of the 99-cent can. What on earth could his reasoning possibly be? You know, I'm just going to let him tell you.
Why not increase the price and therefore increase the profit?
We're successful. We're debt-free. We own everything. Why have people who are having a hard time paying their rent have to pay more for our drink? Maybe it's my little way to give back.
This dude's just a complete gangster. I don't know what else to tell you. That dude literally has woken up every day for the past 3 decades and just told inflation to go fuck itself. He's literally the only multi-billion-dollar CEO that came out and was like, you know what? I'll just make less money. That is completely unprecedented, okay? Like, I love capitalism. I think it is the greatest system that humans have ever come up with. That being said, it's got a ton of shortcomings, and it would be so much better if everybody acted like that. Buh! This is all a complete lie, because last time I saw one at the gas station, it was over $1. Buh! Yeah, that does happen. That's actually the local store that you're at marking the price up higher than MSRP. Arizona Tea still sells their product below $1 and recommends that they sell it for 99 cents. If other companies raise it more than that, Arizona can't really do anything about it. So yeah, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you that your local convenience store is scalping tea. It's the world we live in. So other than Don simply being willing to just make less money, buy a smaller yacht, if you will, what else is Arizona Tea doing to cut costs to maintain this price point? Over time, they've done quite a few different things, one of which is they...
Speaking of that, there was a thing where, like, if they're scalping it really high, that you can contact them and they'll get taken off, like, the distribution list. Because they do not like that is happening, in my understanding. Like, they're not a fan of that. Now, there are places, like, with different, like, so it does cost differently in Canada. It's 99 cents USD, is my understanding. So, like, in Canada, it costs something different. I think it ends up being more expensive. But, yeah. So they have, like, this thing where they're like, you can report places to us. But then, like, yeah, you're gonna have sales tax, right? And every state has a different sales tax. If you don't know that, every state has a different sales tax. In fact, every city within a state can have a different sales tax as well. It's not a joke. There's like state tax, and then there's like county. There's a whole thing. It's super weird, but I'm just saying that is a thing. I mean, yeah, sales tax is going to screw you because we don't have sales tax in any of our prices because sales tax is different per state. So
to cut costs to maintain this price point. Over time, they've done quite a few different things, one of which is they actually changed from selling 23-ounce cans to 22-ounce cans. And the reason they did that wasn't by selling, you know, 1 less ounce of tea is going to save us all this money. They didn't really give a shit about the tea itself. What they did was they went to the can manufacturer and said, hey, we want you to make our cans thinner and use 40% less aluminum so that we save a bunch of money on the raw material end. So they actually ended up making the can a tiny bit smaller and then making it significantly thinner all the way around and having a different top so that they could save a bunch of money on the can itself. In addition to that, they also figured they could save a bunch of money on fuel by not delivering their tea during the day to all the different stores. All their trucks run exclusively at night. Okay,
oh my God. Listen, so speaking of like running trucks at night, so I drive U-Hauls for the convention, the 2 conventions that I run. And the trucks are heavier going to my destination than they are coming back from it. The reason why I do this, by the way, is because I have a storage unit in town with a lot of the equipment, audio stuff, speakers, sandbags, computers, merchandise, random stuff that you wouldn't even think about. In town where I live, and then I rent a U-Haul, we fill it up, and then I drive it to the convention. Some stuff, if it's merchandise, gets sold, and then we put it back in the truck, and I drive it back, and we put it back in the storage unit. I do this twice a year, 100%. Going to the convention, I go technically 2 days early because like setup is on Thursday usually, but I'll drive Wednesday night, like in the middle of the fucking night. I will drive that U-Haul because there are less people there. There's less people on the road. You're going to run into less traffic. There's less people on the road. And it is like, and I'm going to stop because it's a giant fucking U-Haul anyway. I'm going to stop at a truck stop. Not only just because it's a big U-Haul, but because truck stops are usually 24 hours. They're usually brightly lit. They have cleaner restrooms and stuff if that's what I need. Even if I don't need the restroom, they tend to be brightly lit. So I tend to stop at truck stops anyway. But yeah, I 100% just like, cool, I am driving this in the middle of the night. There's less traffic. Now on the way back, I do have to drive during the day. But usually it's on like a Monday. So the traffic, like during like quote unquote work hours. So the traffic isn't that bad, but it kind of is what it is. But I absolutely prefer like driving that sucker at night. It's way more comfortable to do.
So we're all on the same page, just so we're all hearing what I'm saying. In order for Arizona Tea to maintain their cheap price point for the rest of us, they're also gonna make us suffer by reducing the amount of traffic. This might be my favorite company on the planet. They need to add that to the marketing, honestly. Big cans, pretty, there's less fucking traffic, okay? It's a trifecta. Okay, do you understand how crazy that is? Like before, they were just saving you money. But now, in order to keep saving you money, they're also being forced to save you time, okay? It violates the laws of physics somehow. It has to.
Damn, Neil deGrasse Tyson! How are you doing that?
It's physics, Terry. It's physics.
This is my new favorite.
It's fake.
Company. Okay, I don't even drink Arizona Tea. I'm starting today. Okay, that's it. That's all I got. I thought for sure Arizona Tea was going to be up to something like every other company I look into, but no, they're not up to anything nefarious. They're not secretly being funded by the government. It's just Don Volagio, the owner, woke up every day for 30 years and decided to be a fucking badass. When they told him his 1 gallon jug of tea idea was dumb and it wasn't going to work, he said, cool, I'm going to go ahead and sell it anyways. And it worked. He believed in himself. When his wife designed this awesome can and they said, nobody's going to to buy it because it's girly. He said, cool, I'm going to sell it anyways. He believed in his wife and he was a good husband.
Also, I just feel like green tea is more of a, this is gonna sound away, Western. I feel like it's more of like women drink it more. Anyway, it's considered, it's marketed here as healthy. Green tea is. I don't know if you guys have ever run into that kind of marketing sort of stuff. I have. So like, it's like, fine, we'll market it toward women, whatever. I mean, this might be part of the reason, I don't know, but like, you know, it's kind of marketed more toward a feminine. Any green tea, by the way, I don't even mean like the Arizona one specifically. I mean, even like bags of green tea. I mean, so it is, that's absolutely fine if you're a guy and you prefer green tea. I'm just saying, like, historically, kind of like, that's kind of how it's been marketed over here for whatever reason. Yeah, it's kind of more marketed as like a health drink kind of thing, or a healthy tea sort of, or like possibly helps with weight loss. There's a lot of weight loss teas, but just saying. But yeah, I want to, I'm going to be honest. I want to like Arizona tea just because I'm lazy as hell. And if I could just buy it pre-made, I will do it. It is the lemon flavor in it. I mean, to be fair, dude doesn't live in the South. There are people in the South that like lemon in their tea. I know that for a fact. I've worked restaurants. I just do not like lemon in my tea, and the fact that a lot of the pre-made teas have lemon in it is why I cannot drink it. But this is also shelf stable, which means they have additives to keep it shelf stable. It doesn't have to be refrigerated. So I wonder if that lemon flavor is a preservative additive. I don't know. I wonder if that's what it is, though. I'm not talking about 50-50 Arnold Palmers. I'm talking about there is like, I don't know if you've been to a restaurant and ordered a sweet tea, but they'll be like, would you like a lemon? Because some people like squeeze a little bit of lemon juice in there. Not on the degree of a 50-50, which is an Arnold Palmer, but just like a little bit. That's a thing with tea, is some people like lemon in their tea, whether it's like a iced tea or a hot tea. I do not like lemon in my tea. I do not like the flavor of lemon in my tea. But it is what it is. I'm kind of sad about it. I would buy more. I mean, there is like 2 teas, and one of them I think might be gallon only. I've never seen it in the smaller like quart size. But there's like Milo sweet tea and there's like Red Diamond. There might be a third one, but those are the 2 I know about. They're always in the refrigerated section. They have to be refrigerated. They do go bad if they are not refrigerated. I've absolutely had one that was apparently not refrigerated at some point and tasted bad. Those don't have lemon in it. In fact, the Milo's one was like, it's made with 3 ingredients: water, tea leaves, and sugar. Like, that's the only things that are in it. I like those. I will drink those. They don't taste like lemon. The shelf stable ones, like Arizona, I think Pure Leaf, a few other ones, they all have like a lemon flavor to them.
It came time to sell out, retire, and be a billionaire. He said, but then I'm not going to get to hang out with my sons. He had his kids back. He was a good dad. And when the time came to raise prices because everybody else was doing it, he said, nah, I don't need to make more money. I'll just make less. He was a good person. And despite all of that,
I mean, so like the dude's like, I'm already rich. Like, I've already got it made. I don't need to raise the price. He's also privately owned, so he doesn't have to appeal to shareholders. That's another reason, like him being like, no, I'm not going to sell. Because then he's like, oh, I have to make record profits every quarter. How do you make record profits in 2025? You cut down on quality. You cut down on amount. That's shrinkflation. You cut down on workers. You turn into skeleton crews. You cut every corner you can cut. You get rid of everything you can get rid of. Like, I've lived this. I've lived this with every job I've ever had. It was very apparent in the pharmacy industry, retail pharmacy. My experience before, during, and after COVID were very different. And it just got worse. Like, it just got to be a worse experience. So that's what happens. Like, dudes, like, I don't have to appeal to shareholders that want record profits every quarter. I don't have to do that. I can continue taking care of my family. I can continue taking care of my workers. I can not raise the price, which means people are going to continue buying my product because it is one of the cheaper products on the market, and people tend to like it anyway. Like, no, I've already got a lot of money. I don't have to make record profits every year or every like quarter or whatever. And he can do that because it's privately owned.
Despite the fact that he did everything wrong and he put money last as the business owner and the guy running the show, he still ended up being a billionaire worth over $6 billion. And more importantly, he gets to have lunch with both of his boys every single day, which is something I don't think...
That one dude's got a jaw. Like, dang.
Importantly, he gets to have lunch with both of his...
Look at that dude. It's got like Chad jawline. Like, dang.
Boys every single day, which is something I don't think any other billionaire can say, and in a lot of ways that probably makes him the richest man on earth. So in my opinion, that's the key to Arizona Tea's success. Don't chase the money, chase the goal. The money will come after, even if the goal is something as simple as putting a lot of tea in a big can and making it pretty. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel.
Yeah, I gotta read these. Also, I hope that Arizona continues being successful because they do seem like a very good company. I agree with all the stuff that they're doing. I'm gonna be honest, I just wish I liked their tea more. It is literally the only thing that is stopping me from liking it is that lemon flavor, unfortunately. But yeah, you guys go try some Arizona tea if you see it next time. It's like 99 cents plus tax. Should be 99 cents plus tax. Okay, P38 Lightning. Dick Bong Ace of Aces. What?
Channels, go
Legalized tax evasion.
buy some merch over the Fat
I don't know what that says.
Electrician.com. Quack bang out.
Hey.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go play with some big cans of my own. Hannah, what are you doing?
Nice.